we have been getting to know our Switch 2s intimately, as we've been saying. And we found some hidden things that we think is pretty cool that maybe you should try out as well.
Yes. We love to poke around a new system and just see like what's some of the, like under the hood hidden features. And we did find a couple things that I don't know if everybody's going to come across this, but it can give you some really nice benefits. So we just wanted to share these with all of you and maybe find a couple that you want to use yourself.
Yeah, and if you find any, let us know too, because I think there's lots of little things where no one is talking about it and maybe no one has discovered just yet with this new system. So yeah, we can all collectively share all the cute, fun details that we've come across.
Right. So the first is around the battery of the system. And you know, traditionally with a game console that uses a battery, you just plug it in, it charges to 100% and you go. But people have gotten a lot smarter about batteries lately, and to have like a proper like long-term life without the battery degrading, apparently you're not actually supposed to charge it to 100%. For whatever reason, and I'm not a battery expert, this will slowly degrade the performance. So long term, you'll get less and less time out of that battery. But on the Nintendo Switch 2, they added a new feature where you can stop charging at about 90%. It's interesting, they call it around 90%.
Yeah,
because they can't exactly pinpoint it. But that's something that you can activate. It's in the system settings and then under system itself. So this will help prolong the life of your battery, but it's kind of a trade-off of, you know, if you're going on a long trip, you might just want to juice it up to 100%. But I don't know, for me, just like day-to-day around the house, I think I can live with this.
Exactly. I think whatever helps to prolong the battery is actually what I would prioritize for myself, because I've had so many issues with other electronics where this exact same thing happens, where everything else works perfectly fine on it, but somehow the battery life is just completely shot. And you use it for like 10 minutes and the thing is just takes a nosedive.
And we know so many people who had on their original Nintendo Switch, like
the
day one units, and they're like, this battery barely holds a charge. I get maybe 20 minutes out of this thing. So, you know, we imagine this is going to be around for a long time. So I think it's good to start now thinking, like, how am I going to be able to still be using this many years from now?
I was feeling a little nervous already because I've been doing so many things on my new system where it's like really using the juice, you know? It's like trying to download some pretty big games. It was doing all the system updates, doing system transfers, and I was like, ooh, this battery's already getting kind of hot. So yeah, whatever you can do, I think, to preserve the life of the battery will be good for you in the long run. So that's kind of nice.
We've both liked the new eShop. It's a lot faster.
It is.
Which makes a big difference. But there is a cool feature that maybe is familiar for people who have used Steam before. Which is if you click on in the For You, that's on the left side of the eShop, you'll get a personalized recommendation of 10 games that they think you're going to like. It looks at the games that you've already purchased. And it's pretty slick. Like the game will pop up, it'll show you a trailer right away, and you can click through to go to the game page. And they say that every week, and specifically every Saturday, you know exactly when to get your new recommendation.
That's kind of nice.
It'll give you a fresh new set of games. So, you know, we always lament like, oh, it's hard to find.
Discover things.
Something new, something cool in the eShop. Like, this is definitely helping to do that.
Yeah, and I wonder what kind of like feeds that algorithm. I suppose we'll learn more as they recommend games to us every week. But it would probably be good for you to like feed that algorithm. I'm sure with your purchases and with the games that you're looking at and looking at trailers for, or favoriting, or not wish listing, but favoriting on your system. Like it might try to teach it, like these are the things that I like. So hopefully that is a smart thing that will continue to improve as it gets to know you better, and those recommendations get better as well.
Yeah, I did it, and it was, you know, some of the games were games that I had heard of, games that I knew of, but there were some other ones that I really didn't, and I looked at them and they looked interesting, so all right, might be onto something here. So it's worth a look. Adding it to your little Saturday routine.
We should include some footage of us looking at our recommendations to see if they're different between you and I.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah. What kind of things do you have?
Hopefully they're not
on
embarrassing.
those embarrassing recommendations, right?
Next is regarding the Pro Controller, which is excellent, the new Pro Controller, or also the new Joy-Con charging grip has this as well. And it's something that's easy to forget about because you haven't really had it on a Nintendo system before. On the back, you have the GR and the GL buttons.
Yes.
And by default, these are not really set to anything. So you can accidentally press them, hit them, and they won't really do anything. But what you need to do, and what you can do, is you can program them to do different functions. So like if there's a button, let's say in Mario Kart, you're pressing the R button to do the jumping and the drifting. For you, it might be more comfortable to hit that with like your index finger or your middle finger. You can remap it to that button and just do that in-game action with that button. So that's nice.
Whatever you prefer.
Right.
I think it's nice to have that extra option, and it is a button that is like something that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of third-party controllers, like the 8-bit do controllers. They have the GL and GR buttons as well. So you can also, if you had a non-Nintendo Pro controller, you can also map those.
But specific to these, it's pretty easy to do because it's built into the system software.
Yeah.
So when you're playing a game, you just hold down the home button to bring over that little right side menu that pops up, and there will be a prompt for it. And you can very easily map whatever button you want to this GL or GR. And the nice thing is that it's saved to the user. So every time you're going into a game, or if somebody else in your house goes into a game, like it's going to be customized to their setting.
Profile,
which is great.
Yeah.
One other cool thing around button mapping, so this is actually something that got added to original Nintendo Switch very late. We would always lament how hard it was to
N64 games.
remap buttons on the classic Nintendo Switch online games. And specifically
the N64.
Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
We remember when GoldenEye came out. We had such a headache.
I was like very confused about how to do it. It took so much time to just do something that seemed like it should be simple.
Right.
But they've improved this a lot.
They've added a new feature, and now with the GameCube games, this is something you obviously can only do on Nintendo Switch 2 because GameCube is only on Nintendo Switch 2. There's a really nice new feature for remapping the buttons, and it's just built in to the NSO app. So you don't need to like back out to the system menu.
So nice.
You can do that if you want, but they get game by game. So you hold down the minus button to go to the suspend menu, and then you go to view/change controls.
Right.
And the thing that is so nice is it will tell you per game what each button does.
That's so
Because a lot of times it's like, well, I don't really remember what it is or how it is. And this one is like it makes it so easier for you. It's like, oh, that kind of a punch. If it's a fighting game like Soul Calibur 2 that's out now.
You were doing that for Soul Calibur.
Yes, I want to move that down here. So it just in your mind with games that you might not already be super familiar with, you can do that really easily. And it's great for games like the GameCube and the Nintendo 64 that had non-conventional controllers.
Exactly.
I know a lot of you did get the GameCube controller, but if you don't, this is going to make those games
so much easier
specifically for those two systems a bit more playable.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yes.
Next, this one some people might already know about, but if you had a Nintendo Switch OLED model, you'll know in the dock it has a built-in Ethernet port.
Yes.
And the Nintendo Switch 2 dock is exactly the same. It's kind of easy to miss because it's really like
tucked in there?
in the corner here. So if you have, you can just run a cable directly from your router into there. You are going to get such better performance for like downloading things from the eShop or playing games online.
Right.
Really recommend doing this if you can. I realize some people's houses might be like, well, I need to run a cable down the whole house.
I think it's really nice for downloading because if you take it off if I take it off my hardwire and try to download on the Wi-Fi, especially these Switch 2 games are big.
Yes.
Some of the games are like over 50 gigs.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot to connect it to to your router directly.
Right. Exactly. And you do realize some of these games are like peer-to-peer, so there may be some issues with some games that are due to another player, but if we all just plugged in the Ethernet, maybe the world would be
a
better place.
Plug in your Switch.
Do your fellow gamer a solid.
I'm the problem, though.
Yes.
I'm the problem playing in handheld mode.
There is one interesting thing that we saw, though, that got us thinking that you actually can't do.
I know, it's too bad.
So I was sitting here playing the system. I was like, we have a cable coming, an Ethernet cable that is into a USB-C adapter. And I was like,
we plug it into our laptops.
Yeah, and I was like, well, what if I plug that into the top USB-C here? Could I get hardwire internet on my Switch 2 playing in either handheld or tabletop mode, and I unfortunately found out that it does not work.
That's too bad.
I would love for them to add that in a
should
firmware
add
update
that,
because
yeah.
that's actually kind of a nice new feature now that we have,
the
the
two
USB,
ports.
and a lot of people I think are using those
yeah.
those sort of USB-C adapters for internet.
Right. I mean, your laptop uses it, so it's a very
Yeah.
common thing.
Yeah,
So
I'd love to see that in a
Yeah.
future update. We had one more bonus tip.
yes,
based
this
on
actually happened to
something
me.
that happened to you.
And I thought it was very strange, and I kind of talked about it a little bit. I wondered if anyone else have had a similar situation, and it does sound like some other people ran into this too, so just gonna put it out there. But if you are downloading a game, your Switch 2 might not be set as your primary console right now. So if you download a game and it's not set as your primary console, your Switch 1 original Switch might still be the primary console in your system settings. It does a weird thing where it like forces you to load the new game on your Switch 2 as a virtual card. And it's very strange because I was trying to play Mario Kart World and I was like, why is it asking me to do this? Because it thinks that my original Switch was my primary console. So you can change this. So if you go into your settings and you click on Pass Enable Console, you can deregister the current primary console, which is probably your Switch 1, and then it prompts you to register your new primary console, which is your Switch 2. And then once you do that once, you don't have to deal with it ever again. It won't do that to you again. But at first I was like, what is happening? Why can't I play Mario Kart World? I was like very confused by this. So apparently that's something that some people had to do. Not everybody, but I had to do it. So I'm assuming that other people had to do it too. So there you go.
I'm already confused. Thank goodness this didn't happen to me, but thank
Yes.
goodness you found this out for the people who are dealing with this.
I
Wow.
know. Yeah.
What a strange thing.
Verify your primary console, people. We've moved on to
Huh.
a new primary console apparently, and we got to tell our settings that, I guess. So
All right.
there you go. We're still getting to know our Switch 2s. I'm sure everyone else is as well. There's probably little nuances that you're kind of picking up as you are getting more familiar with your new hardware. So yeah, if you have any other tips or any like fun little things or even just like, you know, interesting things that you found, leave it in the comments because we love to read them and you can probably, you know, educate some other people that are just like playing around with their system. So yeah. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.